Is that still working? Hopefully you guys can hear me. Somebody tell me you can hear me before I come around the other side. We got Ground Frog, Rafter, and Matthew, what is that, Wolfman? All right, I'm gonna play this on my computer to make sure that I'm getting some level of audio here. It says I'm live. Yep, you can hear me. Cool. Nice. What's going on, guys? How we doing? For some reason, I don't have chat up. Chat is not on my YouTube thing. Usually this is what I use to monitor your comments, but I've got nothing. Let me work on that for just a second. Hopefully everybody's safe and happy. We have been getting smoked by some cold weather. Not exactly fun. We had an extremely mild early winter here, like ridiculously mild. And then this came. And this is a big, I got to hit. What did I do that's not letting me join live chat? Do you guys have trouble joining live chat? Let me see if my phone is different. Sorry about this, guys. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Yeah, I can see chat on this. Yep, Sinister MD, truck made it no problem. What's in the box? We are going to do something different tonight. It is like 10 degrees before we get the wind chill in effect out there. So I'm not going out there and cooking. And instead, I picked a bunch of equipment and we're going to do basically an unboxing thing. And I'm just going to answer questions about these products and any other products you have. I'm being forgiven for something. I appreciate it. There was something else in there. Head cheese. We had a high of negative 20 the other day. That's not a temperature. Oh my God, that's insane. I'm actually a little bit glad we got some snow. It's been too, I don't know. It's been too warm here. It hasn't felt like winter at all. Christmas was like 67 degrees. Made no sense. So much needed cold weather. If nothing else, kill as many of the mosquitoes as we can, or their eggs, or however that goes. But I don't want it to go on much longer. I'm done with this. And then Sinister, I dropped my truck off tomorrow, fixed for a nice, easy price. So should be a good time. Oh, we forgive you for not cooking in the cold. Yes, I was not going to do that. We were talking about what to do, and I'm like, I'm not going outside, I'll tell you that much. So we don't have a stove in here yet. We've got a hot plate, but I don't want to cook anything on that. Allie and I will give you guys some inside baseball or whatever. Allie and I were doing a podcast this week, even though we didn't need it. We had one in the bag with, or last week, sorry, with a guest or two guests, and we decided to do one on the food pyramid. And I think I was coming down with something and she hadn't slept the night before. It was the worst thing we've ever recorded. We might release it at some point just as a joke. Like, all we wanted to do was sit down and talk about the new food pyramid and like do kind of like an evergreen thing. We immediately dated the episode by saying, oh, well, next week we're doing this. And then we kept going off into tangents and conspiracy theories. It was quite bad. What we think we're going to do is just use that to clip it up. Like, we'll make clips on YouTube out of it. And then this Friday, you'll see Austin again for the first time in a long time. He and I are going to sit down. We've got a couple of good things to talk about. I've also got a good amount of deer snack sticks that we're going to try for him. That's what I've been doing a lot of recently. We had some people come in and drop off some deer for us. I came in on Saturday and helped them process. I helped them make deer brats. They used mac and cheese brat. What were the other two? Oh, parm garlic and rustic French onion. So, and a ton of cheese. People are freaks for cheese. So that was a good time. We got all of that. And then I've got enough to make some good sized batches of, I'm going to do pepper stick. I'm going to do taco unit. Pepper stick I'm going to do with pork fat, and taco unit I'm going to do with a 60% pork fat, or pork, 40% deer, so that we get somewhere around that 20% range. 13 inches. Oof, we didn't get anywhere near that. I think ours topped out at like 6.5, something like that. New facility and no stove. Yeah, it's coming eventually. It's just one of those things that, you know, there are a lot of higher priorities, things that we got to fix, get done. So we keep pushing that one down. We had them come back out and run the electrical for it. So at this point, it's just I don't actually know what the final holdup is, but we'll find it out. We didn't use it that much, just occasionally. But it would have been nice tonight to be able to do something in there. I had a bunch of Allie and I made a bet where I couldn't eat any non-processed food for a week. If I win and don't do it, I get the rum and the basically Fireball whiskey in there. I mean, it's cinnamon whiskey, but it's basically Fireball. So I was good all weekend. So I want that Walton's rum. I'm immediately going to drink it, and then I'll just keep the bottle as a little showpiece. How long before we're able to order Walton shirts like you have on? I know you're working on it. Yep. So we have been without somebody working on the website for a long time now. I've been trying to do multiple different things again. And that's not a complaint at all, but I think we're getting close to getting somebody back in that seat. Once that happens, we can hand off a bunch of projects to them, one of which is kind of a whole redesign of how categories, products, all of that works, but another one of them is this. So what we'll do is we won't stock these shirts. We'll give you guys the ability to order them individually in whatever size you want, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So you'll do that directly from the website, and then they'll ship it to you. So hopefully shortly, because I love this shirt. Rum is made to drink. It definitely, all alcohol is made to drink. The only thing that I think is not made to drink is something out of Chicago called Jeppson's Malort. Long time listeners of Texas out there. I think ND Mike might remember it too, is Austin and I, when we first started this podcast, we used to drink on it like crazy. Or at least when we first started the podcast, this is the live stream. And we'd test each other to try to figure out if we knew our seasonings really well. And I'd take like a piece of chicken and I'd season it with something. And if he got it wrong, he had to take a shot of this drink called Jeppson's Malort. And it's the bitterest drink you could ever imagine. People from Chicago claim to like it, but they are lying. That is a straight lie. There's no way you would like this alcohol. It is truly god-awful. Now, I know my taste buds are a little bit, I don't like potatoes and a couple other things, but that one is just, no, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Isopropyl isn't highly recommended. That's from Adam Lingus. Yep, that I would agree. And then haven't tried it, but don't do it. It's not worth it. You're working on your own rum. Anarchy. That's got to be pretty awesome. I can't imagine. I mean, just the pressure buildup there, I would think is pretty worrisome. I get a little bit freaked out, not with pressure or anything, but with just doing dry cured sausage. So working with any like live culture, anything like that, you have to be so careful with it, right? You have to keep your settings so precise. Beer, not quite so much. Wine, I think maybe a little bit more, but in my understanding is with hard liquor, you have to be pretty dead on everything. For most of you who know me, that's not really my thing, is being super accurate. I just kind of go in a direction, figure it out as I'm going. I don't really like have a target when I start moving, at least not normally. All right, so I've got right here, I've got a Walton's number 8 kitchen grinder. I've got a 50-pound mixer. I've got a quick patty maker, the One Shot, which you know I love, 15-inch vac sealer, 11-pound sausage stuffer, 30-pound electric stuffer, something else that I forget, And if we get to it at the end, and I'll stay as long as you guys want, I've got the 220 Waltons, like that blue lid, big, heavy, oil-powered chambered vacuum machine. I'd rather not open that unless people really want to see it. I definitely will, but it is a bear to get back in the package. And I ran these all as transfers because we're not going to use them. I'm just going to take them out of the package, show you guys what comes with them, run over quick, like best use case scenario, and then I'm going to put them back in. Our intern, and yes, we do now have an intern, isn't in tomorrow, so I'm going to have to repackage these. That's the real tragedy of all this, is that I have to do it and not the intern. Sinister says, for what it's worth, I made a bunch of pizza supreme sausage only to find that it wasn't really set up to make brats with it. It absolutely made fantastic baked ziti and stuffed peppers. Yeah, no, you can use a lot of those seasonings for other things. What was I made chicken with, I think it was the Parmesan butter patty mix. I had some of that. Didn't have anything else really that I thought would be good on chicken, so I put some of that on chicken. It was excellent. The problem is, that's the most expensive patty seasoning we have, so I wouldn't recommend you do that. I'm about to give pepperoni a shot in the Steak Asia fridge I want. Awesome. You're gonna love it. The science behind it is absolutely fascinating. And then the taste is just, if you like that style of pepperoni, salami, all of that, you're gonna love it. Do pepperoni first, then do salami, nail those two down, use TSPX. It's the easiest of all of the cultures, to use. Then if you want, you can try to move on to things like LHP, but start with the TSPX. It is the slowest, right? So it's going to take the longest to get your pH drop, but the minimums and maximums for temperature are the easiest to regulate. Because if you're going to use LHP or one of those other Bactotherm or whatever, you're going to have to get it pretty warm, or otherwise it's just not really going to activate. We should collaborate. Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. Jerky.com. I'll keep that in mind. Hopefully Allie's online and can look that up. We're doing way more of that stuff now, especially through our social media. And yeah, we're definitely interested in that. I mean, social media is a great way to grow. It was something that I personally ignored for a long time, so I'm just not a big social media guy. But yeah, we're doing a much better job of that and email marketing. Keep an eye out in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be sending out an email that will have a opt-in for like text message deals. Do it if you want, don't do it if you don't want to, but it'll come with a pretty good coupon code based around the beginning of the Winter Olympics, right? Yeah, Winter Olympics and the Super Bowl. So most disappointing, like if I could have chosen at the beginning of the playoffs, the two teams I didn't want to see, it's those two teams. However, I am going to watch, because I don't know if you saw this or not. I'm assuming you didn't, because I'm the only type of freak who looks this stuff up. But Budweiser has gone back to the Clydesdales for their Super Bowl ad, and it's a Clydesdale and a bald eagle, and it is the most American thing you could ever see. It's a little ridiculous. It's a lot ridiculous, but it's awesome. Absolutely great music choice. I won't ruin it for you. You should definitely watch that after this, because I freaked out when I saw it. Not that that's hard to make me freak out. All right, let's get some stuff unpackaged. I will show you what comes with it. Now this is just our kitchen grinder. This is the smallest of all the grinders that we sell. I would recommend this for somebody who is just getting into grinding, doesn't want to spend a ton of money, or processing, doesn't want to spend a ton of money, but wants to upgrade from something like a KitchenAid grinder attachment. Because those grinder attachments are a pain in the butt to use. I've used them before, and the most I would recommend anyone do is like 5 pounds, and even then, like once through a 3/8 plate, because when you try and put that back through, it's not going anywhere. So, not that you care about the box, but it comes in a very pretty box. We spent a lot of time creating that. Then we've got a stuffer, or stomper, sorry. That stomper's a little bit different than the other Walton's grinder stompers. It's got inside of it a kidney plate, and which is just a stuffing plate, and this stuffing horn. You shouldn't use this. If you're stuffing off this, what's gonna happen is you will get a smeared product. You won't have any particle definition. It will just be pink. Now, if that's the best you can do, then use that. But you want to find something else to stuff off of. It is a real pain in the butt to use. We've also got an extra 3/16 plate. So that comes with it. You get a John Tremblay approved. I'm the one who did all of the proofreading on those instruction manuals. So if there's problems in it, it is my fault. I would have to own up to that. And then we're gonna get the base of the unit, right? It's a small, little, easy to clean base with just a on and off and a reverse. That's all it's got on it. It comes with an aluminum head, aluminum auger shaft, steel plate, and steel knife. So these are not dishwasher safe. You do not want to put these through the dishwasher. They will go 100% dark on you, like as soon as it hits that hot water for a long period of time. And then we've got a small tray, not very big at all, right? Again, this is for very small batches. I would say you don't want to do anything more than about 10 pound on that. Watching me repackage it, maybe I'll hide them somewhere for a week, and maybe if it's still cold out, that's what we'll do next week. I don't know that that type of language is appropriate for Waltons, though, when I'm repackaging things. Even these are gonna be a pain in the butt. The hardest one is, oh, the thing I forgot down there's a 22 grinder. The hardest one with the 22 grinders is trying to figure out how to get the tray to fit back in there. Drives me absolutely nuts every time I do it. Before I put any of this away, does anyone have any questions on anything in this product? I can't imagine you do. If you found us here and watching this channel, I imagine you probably already have a grinder or designs on a grinder that would be larger and more robust than this one. But whole reason we're doing this is to answer questions. So as I do them, I will probably just start putting things all over the place. So we might have to take a break every once in a while for John just to do some product management. And as usual, drinking a little bit of Miller Lite. I put some of that Twang beer salt in it. I love this stuff, absolutely delicious. Now this, I wouldn't mind a little one to keep in the kitchen, but that'd be either an 8 or 12. So that is technically an 8. And like I said, if you're gonna do 5 pound batches, it works fine, does a good job. You just don't wanna be doing larger batches with it. It's gonna be too much for it. It's gonna get hot. It's gonna start damaging your meat after probably 15 pounds. Now you can obviously do some things to mitigate that. You can take the head, the hopper, your meat, all of that, throw it in the freezer, let everything get as cold as possible to try to extend the period before the heat starts transferring through to the head, the auger, the knife, the plate, all that. But again, I think it's $169, something like that. So it's not a very expensive unit. On the other hand, here is a little piece of equipment that I recommend everybody who has a Walton's 12 grinder or above get. I love this thing, and I do even more now like the 22 version of it. This is our one-shot grinder attachment head. And with this, if I can get it out, you're gonna get a replacement number 12 head. It is going to be a little bit longer than the standard one that comes with it. And inside, it's gonna be significantly different. We're gonna have a different auger system, and it's gonna come with a different set of plates and knives. I'm gonna Try and make sure I'm showing this well. So I might pause here for a little bit while you guys... Okay, cool. So here's the auger. We've got a longer stud on it, and it's the shape is changed. It goes from circular to square, and then back to circular with a big reduction in the size of the diameter of the auger. Furthest back, we have this, which is a kidney plate with a larger hole than is normal. So if you look at these two, this one I can almost get my pinky, well, I can get the beginning of my pinky through. This, there's no chance, right? So this is a much bigger hole, and it's designed that way so it can sit all the way back on the auger. We then have a two-sided knife. This has sharp edges on the back and the front, and it's got a square center so that when it sits on that auger, or the auger stud, it can lock right in. We can then use, on the number 12, we can then use any number 12 plate we want, any of the single notch plates that fit a standard number 12. That's not the case with the 22. You need special plates for the 22 because it's got so much more torque. But this will do both your grinds in a single one. Before we got the Walton's 22 one-shot, this is all I used with my Walton's 22 because it's so much faster. It cuts your grinding time down way, way below half, right? Because that first grind's pretty fast. It's that second grind that takes forever. And this takes almost all of that away. Most of the time, unless something weird is happening, I can do both grinds in just about the same time it takes me to do my first grind on a regular traditional system. Now, you know, there are certain times where that might be only like 80% as quick as the first grind on a traditional system, but I mean, that's still pretty amazing when you consider your second grind's often going to take you 5 times as long, even longer, 10 times as long, depending. And you're also going to get a 1/8 plate. Tiny little holes, perfect for when we're wanting to make smoked sausage like snack sticks, summer sausage, anything like that. I do recommend, you don't have to do it, but I do recommend you also get a second knife, and just like a standard grinding plate and knife, you marry those together. That way everything's gonna wear at the same size or same rate. The kidney plate is two-sided. So if you can figure out how you can identify which side is which, you can switch those around as well. So then everything, like I said, is wearing at the same rate. When we do that, we're gonna extend the life of everything. If you use a sharp plate with a dull knife, that plate is gonna get dull way quicker because of that dull knife. So keep everything locked together if you can. Not always possible. All right, let me just check comments here for a second. All right, I did the 12 one for my one shot. Yep, they're awesome. That'd be my question. What can the dual grind go on? Do you mean like what other grinders can it go on? If that's your question, can't really answer that because other manufacturers can make changes at any point. I use my kitchen aid grinder to make ground for small things like chicken tacos, salads. Yep. Papa Sop. Pay attention to the knife rotation of the dual grind. That's a good point. Very good point. These have you want the symbols on the knife facing out. You can put it on backwards, and that does cause problems. So make sure there's a number 12. On this one, there'll be a number 12, like the 1, 2, and I think there's like a cutting symbol. Those you want facing out towards your finishing plate, not in towards your kidney plate. But does an awesome job. This is one of my favorite things we have here at Walton's. And I know I've told people this a million times, or maybe I haven't. When we first started working with this company, I wanted them to make our electric stuffers. They wanted to sell me this. I was not interested in this because I'd used a LEM version of it in many years past, and I just was not happy with it. It kind of didn't bind up. It just didn't do a good job. Now that was with a number 8, so that could be the main problem there. But the first time I did this, I ground like 50 pounds of meat, put it in the cooler, and I was real confused because it worked incredibly well. And I went and got Kurt Carter, who some of you guys know, who's been here forever. I was like, hey, do me a favor. I'm like, go look at that. I'm like, just tell me what you think. And he's like, no, it looks great. He's like, this actually looks better than normal, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm testing this too. But no, this is one of the better things that we've had, new things that we've had in a long time. I love that thing. All right, next, I think we're gonna grab the ever famous quick patty maker, and we'll show you what's in that box. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, I think I went to the next stream somehow. So when I talk about social media, it's stupid not to bring this thing up. I know one of our posts on Instagram has like 80 million views, and all told, it's well over, I don't know, it's got to be 200 million views on just this product on social media. For whatever reason, people seem to love watching this thing work. It is kind of interesting, right? In it, we're going to get the instruction manual, which really isn't much. I think that's actually before I was really doing things. And then inside, we're going to get a number 32, a number 22, a number 12, a number 8, and a number 5 / sausage stuffer size attachment. So this, let's try and do this as unobtrusively as I can. This is the number 5 or the sausage stuffer one. And I want to pull this out without breaking. There we go. So that is our quick patty maker. We attach the adapter to the back of this. The back of this unit goes towards our sausage stuffer or grinder, and we just run it until it fills up. Push this over. Once this gets pushed over, this falls down. So this is not a straight surface. It angles out a little bit to make it the drop easier. And then at your guys' request a couple years ago, we came up with a slider. The slider that we have makes patties as thick as this. Some of you guys have requested we make changes to make those sliders or breakfast sausage things thinner. I don't remember who it was. Somebody was nice enough to send me a bunch of pictures of like something they had actually milled out to make it where it would be a thinner thickness. And it seems very reasonable. It definitely seems like it works. But when we talk to our manufacturer, they're like, listen, that's just going to be, you might as well make 2 units for the cost. It's going to be a completely complete redesign. So right now it doesn't look like that's happening. We're still, Flip, who some of you guys know, is in communication with them. But for right now, it does look like we're going to stick with this thickness on the patty. That makes about a 1/3 pound patty. Depending on what you're using, it can be a little bit more than that. Excuse me, sorry. They reviewed it on Sorted. They didn't get it right. Yeah, they didn't, but they did admit that too. They're like, we're not sure we're using this right. The patty maker is pretty slick. It'd be a good way to make brat patties. Absolutely. Anything. The one thing I don't like about our stuffer flusher eggs is that I don't make brat patties anymore. And I used to love doing that. That's actually what started my obsession of using pork anytime I made beef patties. I'd use about 25% pork because all of a sudden I was like, why do I love this Philly brat patty at least as much as I love a regular hamburger? So I started adding about 25% pork fat in, and absolutely delicious. If you use the sausage patty insert, it makes the right size smash burger. Absolutely it does. So you can pop that right down and it will expand out nice and thin. That is a good thing. But a lot of people do also just want them for a breakfast sausage. And it's a thick breakfast sausage. I mean, just being honest, right? Most people would like a thinner breakfast sausage. So good. So can anyone beat ND Mike? Is it colder anywhere else? I can't imagine it is. I mean, North Dakota, you guys are known for the cold. I was talking, I swear I'm not getting political here. I don't care about it at all. But I told one of my friends from Minnesota the other day, I'm like, dude, I'm so sick about hearing about your state. He's like, the deer hunting's awesome. I'm like, I don't care how good the deer hunting is. Like, you guys just need to shut up and go away for a while. All right, we're gonna grab the 50-pound meat mixer. And this one is a bit of a pain to unbox. So I'm gonna be a little bit careful with it. This is the mixer that hooks up to our 12, 22, and 32 Walton's grinders. Basically, you just take the whole head apparatus off of the grinder, attach this to it, and it does all the mixing for you. I'm so ridiculously spoiled now that a couple of months ago, maybe a year ago at this point, I had to do the mixing by hand, and I was really annoyed by it. Like, this is not fun. Like, I'm used to this just being done for me. But they do a great job. Again, this is something for somebody who wants to make a bunch of cured sausage, and in good size batches, 20 pounds and above. I have done some testing. The absolute minimum batch size that you can get in here and have it be effective is 12.5 pounds. If you try and do anything smaller than that, basically the paddle is just gonna move things around. It's not actually gonna get it mixed. And even at that 12.5 pounds, you need some sort of scraper to push things off the side back into the middle. Once you get up to the 15 to 25 pound, well, 20 pound range, perfectly fine. Anything above 20 works like a dream. Okay, just making sure I'm not missing chats. And this has an inner box and an outer box like a couple of these do. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna flip it on its side after we open this inner box and kind of push it out. So again, you're gonna get a full walkthrough with hopefully no spelling errors or inaccuracies. And in there, you can see that it's, well, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's turned upside down, right? So it is right now, the base of the unit is facing out. So we're gonna try and pull this. I can get a handle on it. Yep, there we go. We're gonna flip it. There we go. And there's a lid in there that I have to be careful about too. Come on. There we go. We got it. Where's that lid at? Right here on the side. All right, we're good. All right. Number one thing we're gonna show is the lid. This is actually very important and something that if you're not filming videos, like I'm always doing, I recommend you use. Reason for that is the second we turn on that mixer, we're gonna agitate that meat, agitate the seasoning that we've already put in, and it's gonna try and get up in the air. If we put this on, we greatly reduce the amount of area it has to get up in the air. And we've got this nice little mailman slot that we can use to add water, other additives, anything like that. So lid should be used. I often don't, just because we're always making videos. We've got this big old heavy duty handle. So this has a screw in this apparatus up here. So we don't just put this on like we would with one of the sausage stuffers. We put it on and then we tighten it down. That's gonna make sure that as we're mixing it, getting it to go around, it's not gonna fly off like it sometimes does with the 11 pound, 7 pound, or 26 pound stuffer. All right, and here we've got the main body. Right now, it is upside down, because that's the easiest way to store it. But with a simple pull of this bottom lever here, we can flip it. That was probably really loud. We can flip it around, or if we want to load it, tilt it that way and store it, flip it all the way back around. This is the side that we're going to hook up either our handle or our grinder to. And inside, we've got an axle with paddles on it, plus these two. Am I on the right side? Please tell me I'm on the right side. I'm not on the right side. What an idiot. We've got these two little pop outs there. Basically what that's doing is making sure the meat doesn't get too stuck to the center of the axle. One of the nice things about this is, one, hook it up to your grinder and we'll do all the mixing for you. You'll be done in just a couple of minutes. Two, it will empty itself for the most part. If you have it hooked up to a grinder, pull this out, tilt it all the way forward, have your grinder off at this point, hold this down and hold it down nice and hard. Then turn your grinder back on. This will start moving and it's gonna kick all of that meat right out into your lug or whatever you have down there. If you don't have anything down there, it's gonna kick it out into the ground. So, I don't know, don't be stupid. I assume you're not. But great unit. We've used it for many years now. We've looked at some replacements. Tex, who most of you guys know, found one with rounded edges, which did make cleaning a lot easier. When I say rounded edges, they're just like in here, like this was curved. And cleanup was a breeze, but I couldn't get it to get anywhere near the same level of protein extraction in the same amount of time. For any of you guys who've seen me do anything in our commercial kitchen, that we would use a planetary mixer where it's like stand up, almost looks like a dough mixer, kind of. It's not exactly, but kind of looks like that. That does a great job at achieving protein extraction without overworking the meat. These don't have that advantage. If we end up mixing this too much, we're gonna end up breaking and smearing the meat. So I didn't wanna recommend that you guys spend more time. Just for a little bit easier cleanup, my recommendation on this, white oil the inside of everything before you use it, then hit it with a hose, all that meat comes right out, and all you gotta do is clean off the little bits. So not too hard. All right, let me take a break and just check out some comments here. Oh, we've only got one new one. All right, what is the downside of the 22 one shot versus the number 12? The biggest, there's two downsides to it. First is the price, right? It is more expensive, and some people that matters too. You also can't use it with the number 12. The number 12 works with the number 12, 22, or 32. The number 22 only works 22 and 32. But the second big one, and definitely bigger one, is you can't use any outside finishing plate you want. You have to have a specific 1/8 plate, a specific 3/16 plate, and now a specific 3/8 plate, which I think should be in soon. So here is the whole of a one-shot 22 1/8 plate. Right, I can see you through that. Here is the hole on a regular number 22. So you need these specialized plates for it. So if you have plates, they won't work on it, which is just kind of an annoyance. But they did it because they redesigned the entire auger system because the torque was just too much for that to deal with. So I'm not gonna hold that one against anybody. That needed to happen. Another thing on this, we're gonna have these adjustable feet. So we can make it up to about 5 or 6 inches taller if we want, or run it all the way down at the base. The reason we definitely want to move it up is if we're hooking up to one of the Walton's grinders, that they have to like match up on heights pretty much perfectly. So it does take a little bit of adjustment here, but it's got a locking nut at the top. So once you get that height once, set it, and you're good. Takes just a little bit of time to get it up there though. Excuse me. All right. Hopefully, a bunch of you were here last week when Brett and I sat around, and I don't remember how long we went. We stayed here a very long time after, like very, very long time after. But I think we ran till about 8:30. That was a lot of fun. It was good to see Brett get to show off his prized possession, his new baby. Next day at work was not fun. Ooh. Brett's about twice the size of me, and sometimes I forget that. Oof. All right. Here is our all-star, our thing we were probably most well known for. This is the Walton's 11-pound sausage stuffer. 11-pound sausage stuffer works with the quick patty maker. It works with the all-around jerky maker, and pretty much is definitely our best-selling sausage stuffer, or has been classically. 30-pound stuffer comes in a big package. That thing is a beast. The package kind of kicked my ass. Yeah, it's no joke. When we bring it up here, I don't think it'll all fit on camera. We're going to be moving things around a little bit, but I do want to show it. I already opened the outside of this box. All right, so first things we're going to get with this is 4 different stuffing tubes. We're going to get a 12 millimeter, you know what? I'm not doing this because I will mess it up and someone will make fun of me. And definitely not a John Tremblay approved manual. I don't understand why we haven't gotten that fixed yet. I know Flip and I have talked to the manufacturer about this. All right, so we're going to get a, thanks for not including that. You're going to get 4 stuffing tubes. It's 12 millimeter, or 22 millimeter, or 28 millimeter, and a 38 millimeter. God, I hope that's right. I'm pretty sure it's very close, if not. Basically, you're going to get a snack stick. You're going to get a hot dog. You're going to get a bratwurst. You're going to get a small diameter and a large diameter summer sausage. Yep. I mean, Anarchy, orange is our color. That is our thing. It used to be blue when it was Midwestern Research and Supply. And this is our 40th anniversary this year. This is the 40th birthday of Walton's. So we're going to start making a pretty big deal out of that here. We've got some alternate use logos coming out. We've got a bunch of media stuff prepped and ready to go for the 40th anniversary. So that should be pretty cool. You might even see some blue things. So hashtag Team Blue. We're also going to get an extra piston gasket, because this is the one thing when I worked in customer service, or when I talk to you guys, I always tell everyone to buy an extra one of, because if by some chance this breaks, you get a burr in it and it snaps, anything like that, you're down. You can't stuff any sausage without one of these. It's like $1.50 part. It's stupid not to have one on deck. So we send an extra one with it. It's got the trefoil locking nut, which you're going to use to secure whatever stuffing tube you want to use. It works with all of them. And it's got the handle. Now this handle, for people who've had these for a long time, and I know people who've had their Walton stuffer for over 10 years, this nut has a tendency to start getting a little bit loose. So as you're stuffing, if you see this starting to unscrew, and you can actually see the threads between this nut and the actual handle, not the hand piece, but the handle, stop. Because if that comes loose, this thing is coming back around with a surprising amount of force. And if you get hit in the face with it, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna have a bad time with that. So just always keep an eye out for that. Just grab a wrench, tighten it back down, and it'll stick for many, many more years. but you're not gonna be able to do it, get it tight enough with your hands. And here is the stuffer. Ooh, it is a gorgeous piece of equipment, very simple, but doesn't need to be fancy to be great. There we go. It comes, let me get this off first so you can hear. It comes with 4 just little rubber feet. You guys can replace those rubber feet. We sell suction cup feet. I highly recommend you do that because it's gonna rock as you're trying to stuff. And you're gonna need one person to hold the stuffer down and somebody else to turn the crank. If you replace those with suction cup feet and you're working on any type of table that something will suction to, you're all good. It'll rock a little bit, but it's not going anywhere. I put my suction cup feet on, I don't know, 4 years ago now, and I've never gone back. It's also got 2 gears. It's got a top quick action gear and a lower stuffing gear. This top action gear, all we want to do with that, I'm doing this backwards so I got it right. All we're gonna do with that is back that piston out. We're then gonna tilt our canister back, fill our canister with meat, put it back in, and then use that top action gear to get everything back down in touch with the meat. We're then gonna switch to our stuffing gear. And we're gonna go the opposite direction as we were with our top fast acting gear. And it's gonna be much, much, much slower, but we have more torque on it, I think. And we're not gonna break our stuffer. And that's important. We never wanna stuff ever, ever, ever off this top gear. Now that gets confusing. I'll tell you later. But this truly is probably the one thing I would say is most responsible for Walton's success in the retail market is this stuffer. I've seen other ones very similar to them, and I always kind of thought like, why didn't somebody buy that or buy those instead? I've seen them cheaper on Alibaba, other websites, Amazon. And we brought some in and they're not the same. A few of you will remember, or maybe no. A couple years ago, our vendor tried to make a change to these without telling us and we freaked out about it. Started in a little bit of a holy war. And we got this to continue to be made exactly as it was because there's no reason to change something that works as well as this one does. 11-pound is a workhorse, absolutely. There is very, very few products that I haven't made with this model stuffer. I have a 10 millimeter that this will hook up to, so I can do 16 millimeter snack sticks. It will work with it. It puts a lot of pressure on it, and you can buy a 10 millimeter. But as long as you're careful and you add the correct amount of water, this thing will do 16 millimeter snack sticks. Absolutely. It does 19 millimeter all day, no problem. Deer, pork, beef. Never done bison with it, but I'm sure if I wanted to, it would. I can imagine I would find better things to do with bison than snack sticks though. So I will give just a minute or two. Does anyone have any questions on the 11-pound stuffer? As we're waiting, I'm gonna pour myself another beer. I'm gonna finish this one, pour myself another one. Let's see if we can get a... I don't know if the microphone picked that up or not. And now I have a very foamy beer, but if it did, I'm at work drinking and you probably can't do that, so. Haha. As that settles, I'll get this out of the way. We will move on to the next one, which is going to be just a 15-inch vacuum sealer. So this is a newer product for us. 15-inch chamberless vacuum sealer. So this is the kind that only the opening of the bag goes into. You'll be able to tell what type of bags it should use because it will have a texture to at least one side of it. When you get this, you're going to get a roll, and I think a set of bags in here as well, that have texture to both sides of the bag. That's not really necessary. We played around with changing our Walton's branded chamberless bags a couple of years ago and just decided it really didn't make a difference. You need a texture with this type of bag or this type of machine. Otherwise, the bag will just suck down like to itself and you won't be able to pull any air past wherever it like sealed basically. So that texture allows little runnels of air to be pulled out of the bag. These are great machines because they're not that expensive. Yep, and here are some bags that come with it as well. As you can see, it has that texture on both sides. They're great machines because they're not that expensive, but we're pulling air out of a vac bag that's loaded with something that probably has some moisture in it, right? Occasionally we're doing perfectly dry ingredients, but usually we're doing meat or something that was just frozen in there. And that's eventually gonna pull water up into the chamber. So, not the greatest idea. Water and electronics don't tend to mix all that well. Ooh. I slipped yesterday while walking my dog, coming back from walking my dog on my, the concrete in my garage. I had my hunting boots on. They got super slippery. Legs came right out from underneath me and whack right down on my hip. So anytime I'm having to bend down, it is a struggle. So in this, we're gonna get those two extra bags. One's a roll, one's a set of bags. We're gonna get this, which kind of confuses people because we don't sell the canisters. But this, if you do have canisters, will hook up to pickling canisters, anything like that. Or, it's not a pickling canister, it's a vacuum canister. We don't sell them because you can buy them anywhere and they're super cheap, much cheaper than we could ever possibly get them for you. We've also got the nice instruction booklet and a power cord. Now, this unit has a 15-inch wide seal bar, so you could put bags up to 15 inches in here. It also has a built-in section in the back for a roll, and it's got a cutter. So it's really easy to use whatever size bags you want. The one thing about this unit is you have to be careful. When you're creating those size bags, you can't get the opening of the bag inside of this little mini chamber. We call them chamberless units, but it's almost a misnomer because this, and here, once I close that, this whole thing does kind of become a chamber, right? Like that's where the vacuum is being created. And if we put our bag in there, the suction is strong enough that it's just gonna keep pulling air in through that bag. So we have to press it up against this gasket, close it, push it down for a second, get a seal, and then we can use that as a normal bag. If you try and put it inside the chamber, it's just gonna pull forever, forever, forever. And will never actually seal your bag. Yep, so since it's 15 inches, if you're using a 6-inch bag, 6 inches, 6 inches. And if you don't care, I can't think of that many good use cases for this, but I've done it before when I was in a hurry. You can put 2 bags on top of each other. So say these are the biggest bags I have, and I just want to get everything packaged. Like it's going to be bratwurst, and I know I'm going to eat a bunch of them at a time. I can fill them both up with bratwurst, and I can stack them one on top of the other like this, put it in there, and increase the seal time, and it will seal through both bags. Those two bags will now be stuck together, and you can't get them unstuck. But it is a way to make sealing a lot faster, almost too fast. So keep that in mind. All right, so that is the Walton's 15-inch sealer with built-in roll storage and cutter. In my mind, at least, a great little unit. All right, two things left. We've got my favorite little Walton's workhorse, the 22 grinder. We sell a 32 grinder. I recommend the 22 grinder to almost everybody, other than some very specific use cases. If you end up wanting to do like a ton of beef or a lot of really, really big packages or batches, then maybe go to the 20 or 32. But this 22 is awesome. It's the thing I've used for 8 years now at Walton's. Started using a 22 before we had any Walton's branded stuff, and I was using a Weston. Then when we got the Weston, I just grabbed the 22 because I didn't want to spend that much of my budget on a grinder. And we were working on budgets pretty tightly back then, and never looked back. I love this thing. I could wax rhapsodical about it for a good amount of time. When we got these orange ones, I had to give away the first one I ever got. And I swear to you, it sounds stupid, but it was like a little bit of like melancholy. I know it went to a good home, but I was still sad. All right, so in here, we're gonna get a couple of things that are quote unquote extra. Obviously, we're gonna get a stomper. This stomper should almost never be used. I don't ever use mine, other than if something happens to just get trapped in the throat. Like if I didn't cut it small enough and I gotta push it down just to where I can get the auger to grab that meat, engage with it, and push it on. Other than that, I don't wanna use that stomper at all. It slows things down. You're also gonna get two different stuffing tubes. We're gonna get one for larger diameter and one that will fit bratwurst size casings. Now, I still don't like stuffing off a grinder. It can be done, but it is not what a grinder is for. A grinder is for grinding. A stuffer is gonna do a infinitely better job of making sausage than a grinder can. If it's your only option, then do what you gotta do. But if you have the means, 7-pound stuffer, I think is like $179. And I guarantee you over the years that you will have that Walton 7-pound dual speed stuffer, get the dual speed option, it will more than pay for itself in frustration, in quality of product, in also like extra work time on your grinder, right? Like this has a motor. If we run it 1,000 hours, it doesn't care if it's doing grinding meat or stuffing sausage. It's still the same taxation on the motor. It might not be 100% true, but it's pretty close. So a stuffer is a good option to make sausage. All right, and in here we've got an extra one of these. This is a auger sleeve. It's this little nylon part that sits between your motor and your auger head. This you need to make sure that this is cleaned every time that you clean your grinder. Now I know it doesn't always come out, but you need to get a brush back there, because once we start building up any type of building up, I guess is the wrong word. Once we start breaking this material down, it is gonna do a terrible job at stopping heat passing from the motor up to the auger head. So we sent an extra one just in case that happens, and you can easily replace it without having to call us and pay for shipping, because it's nonsense. That part probably costs 6 cents. So you paying $8.95 for shipping for a 6-cent part makes no sense. Or if we decide to be nice and we pay $8.95 for shipping, makes no sense. We've also got a star stuffing adapter. If you are going to stuff with it, you have to put this in your grinder in place of this plate to make sure that that auger doesn't ride on the bottom of the throat and ruin it. You're also going to get a 3/16 plate, and let's see if I can get this out easily. Normally I would do this while it's on the floor, but here's the head. You're going to get the 3/16 plate. Thank God this table is as high quality as it is. You get the 3/16 plate. You're going to get a grinding knife. You're going to get the auger, the stainless steel head. All of that can go in the dishwasher. I put them in the dishwasher all the time now. I have two options for dishwashers here, and both of them are 100% dishwasher safe. And we're going to pull out all this pack. You know what? I'm going to move this to the floor. I'll just bring things up for you. I'm not tall enough to do this. Got a locking nut. I'll show you the use of that in a minute. And this is our big hopper for our 22. We can fit at least 25-pound meats in there, or 25 pounds of meat in there that's cut up and ready to be ground. I usually can get more of that, especially if I do it in strips. And then the beauty, that orange you were talking about, Anarchy, right there. It reminds me slightly of something from the 1970s, but like a cool 1970s vibe. Patrick, who a lot of you guys know, was always like joking. I don't know if he even was joking. He wanted different skins for this, so you guys could personalize this. I've taken these coverings off before. Like I think there's 2 bolts here. Is there 3? Yeah, 2 bolts here and 2 bolts here. I wanted to see inside it when I first got it. Putting it back on is a nightmare. It's not worth that for you guys to put I don't know what kind of skin you would do, your favorite NFL team, something like that. So we decided to give it a little bit of class though, and give it some orange. Some people hate it. I've heard people say that they were wanting to buy one and then they saw it and they're like, I don't like it. Like, I can't do that. And I've heard other people love it. So yeah, hopefully you guys like it. All right, let's just quick look through. Hawk Iced Guy alive. All of this has been in China, man. We've tried for years. There is nobody in the US who can do this at even close to the price point. Even that 11-pound stuffer, it's got very few moving parts. We've got obviously the center, we call these a rack, and in here are the 2 or 3, it's 3 gears. They just have to move around each other. We had a guy who was trying to get our grinder plate business, and they were all done in America, in Virginia, and I wanted an American sausage stuffer. So I told him, I'm like, listen, you don't even have to be close to the same price point. You just need to be within like 50% of where we get it from, or 50% of the price of where we get it from. And once he got it, because I sent him one, I couldn't get him to return any of my calls after that. So it was just like a no-go. Grinders, we've looked at some stuff. There's Maverick, all-American made grinder, but it's like for a 22, I think it's $2,600. Maybe it's $2,200, something like that. So the cost is just so prohibitive that we can't compete like that. So places like Lem, what's the other big one? Cabela's, that's who we're competing with. So that's what we have to try to do. But it is something that we do consistently look at. Where are these? Oh, geez. Red made his marks this time. So I already had a 22 grinder, but had to get that one. The style was more of what I wanted. Plus, it is orange. Yes, it is. Good. Anarchy loves the orange. I'm going to buy some orange filament for my 3D printer after watching the walkthrough. Cool. But yes, Team Blue, absolutely. Yeah, it kind of hurts. Only thing I wish my 122 had was reverse, but I bought mine before that was an option. When we first initially were doing them, we just didn't really think there was a need for it. I used them extensively and never bound one up. Once we got this is before, it was before we got the one shot. That's true. People really wanted a reverse option, so we put it on. It is good to have a reverse option with your one shots, because if you put meat in there that is frozen like you would normally want, it could very well bind up, right? Because it's trying to do 2 grinds in a single pass. So it's an incredible amount of work you're trying to ask it to do. But that reversal will clear it in a second. But it is just a good looking, I'm biased, right? I'm clearly biased, but it's a good looking orange. I mean, it's just pretty. It reminds me of like shag rug in my old girlfriend's basement when I was in high school. Like, that's literally what it reminds me of. Ugh. I've got a lot of work to do repackaging. This is the locking nut. It goes on the actual grinder body, and basically all it does is it locks this in right there. So when you turn that on, it can't just spin around. Because without this, the head would just try to basically spin. All right, we are at, what, 8? Would you guys rather see Dukes of Hazzard meat processing? There's many things I've done that could be considered Dukes of Hazzard meat processing. I saw a guy the other day, I was freaking out, because I saw a stuffer that looked exactly like this with a DeWalt drill hanging off the side. And for anyone who wants to know, I think that's a C10 3/4-inch spline that should hook up directly to that. Years ago on Meatgistics, somebody brought up the idea of a ratcheting handle, which was an awesome idea. We could just never get it priced anywhere near effectively. So that's why I know it's a C10. I think it's a C10 3/4-inch spline. But he hooked it right on there and just and stuffed out absolutely no problem. But I was freaking out. I'm like, please don't be our stuffer. I don't want to see people using that stuffer. And everybody else could read the logo up here but me until I put my glasses on. Second I put my glasses on, I was like, oh God, I'm blind. This is now getting bad, because it was very, very clear that it was a Viver. All right, I am gonna do the 30-pound stuffer so that I don't have to mess around with that 220. But the 220 is awesome. Yeah, no, I know. I'm getting used to it. I'm starting to get used to being older. And I probably don't mind it as much as I thought I was going to. The one thing that's annoying to me is my eyesight. And I honestly never knew I had astigmatism until I saw some meme that was like, when you're driving at night, if headlights look like this, you have astigmatism. I was like, I've had astigmatism since I was like 5. So I never knew they weren't supposed to look like starbursts. All right. 30-pound electric stuffer. The big box. Rawr. Yeah. And there she blows. Wait to see, oops. Wait to see that come back into frame. There it is. So, an absolutely beast of a unit. Does a really good job. Ooh, I'm running out of battery. Does a really good job. Pork, beef, deer, things like that. You want to add more water if you're going to make snack sticks, just to make sure that the consistency isn't too much for it. It's not even the motor. It's the brackets on the side of the base of the unit, basically. The motor goes with so much power because we kept annoying our manufacturer, like, nope, we want more power. They're like, no, you don't. We're like, yes, we do. Yeah, we want more power. So eventually we got it to where we were happy with it. But now the one thing that occasionally happens if your meat is too dense is it'll push it right off the side of that bracket. What does that say? Welcome to the live. Oh, I don't know why it's welcoming to the live or welcoming me to the live chat now. I've obviously been here the whole time. All right. So in here, we're going to get a bunch of things. First, we're going to pull out this box at the end, which contained, oh God, I have golfer's elbow, and it makes me feel like such a sissy because anytime I try and like push in on something and pull, it hurts so bad. So I'm gonna pull this down and try and get it from a different angle. Again, that whole getting old thing. All right. Just a little filler box, which I should put over here so I don't mix it up with something else. And then behind that, we've got the motor. All right. Top of the motor, we've got this little piece of wood here. Reason for that is in the first iteration of them and some thick corrugated cardboard. In the first iteration of them, what was happening is as they were getting shipped, this button was getting impacted and was hitting it and breaking its ability to modulate the speed. Huge annoyance for a long time. But basically we've got a power button, an up, a down, a stop, and adjustment for speed, which really is just an adjustment for pressure. It also has a foot pedal in it. I don't ever use the foot pedal. Again, I'm old and my shin muscles are one of the things that goes first, I guess. So like pushing down on that, I don't like. I'd rather just adjust it with my hand and hit start, stop. So really, really powerful motor, does an absolutely great job. And it attaches to this. My good Lord, this is going to take most of my morning tomorrow. Ugh. There we go. All right, so we have two versions of this, kind of. This is the all-electric version, comes with a motor. But we also really do like the gearbox for this. It is a little bit superior to that one. So we have a non-electric version that a motor can be added to at a later date, or you can just use it as a 20 or 30 pound electric or manual stuffer, and it does a phenomenal job. We're gonna get the exact same stuffing tubes we do with our manual. They're just gonna be a decent amount longer, right? So we're gonna get a lot more casing on there, and we do that because that thing has the power to do it. There's no reason not to make them longer. And they're all stainless steel. We've tried the plastic ones in the past, but plastic has a higher tendency to create burrs on these, in our minds at least. And once you get a burr on a stuffing tube, it's gonna rip your casing. You're gonna get blowouts like crazy. So stainless steel is just a little bit easier way to go. And here's the big guy, the 30-pound stuffer. Once again, in the gorgeous Walton's orange. If anyone is wondering, that is FF660 as a hex code. Anarchy Zach, if you're looking for an exact match to do with any type of 3D printing, that's FF660. Just a gorgeous unit, an incredibly heavy duty gearbox in there, a nice Walton's badge on the front, same size outlet, so any of your stuffing tubes that worked with your 11-pound, your quick patty maker, your all-around jerky maker, anything like that is going to work with this as well. Yeah, my phone's about to die, but that's fine. This version, right, comes two different ones, like I said. You've got the 30-pound that you could add the motor to later, and with that, you're just gonna have a flat base. This has, it's inside of it right now, kind of a pain in the ass to get out the first time you get it out. There's a handle that goes right there. This is definitely not a safe activity I'm doing right now. You're gonna screw that handle on. And then you have a, oh, it's not in there. It must be somewhere else. But then you have a place, sorry, to store all your stuffing tubes so we can keep everything in one place. Makes it nice and easy, and you're not gonna lose stuffing tubes all over the place. Where is, I need to find that so that I don't send one out without it. Anytime somebody says they're missing something, I always tend to think it's in these styrofoams, because that's almost always where it is, but I think I'm about to be made a fool of. Which, honestly, quite luckily, I'm very comfortable with. Let's see if it's in the motor box. Nope, doesn't look like it's in the motor box. Okay, so apparently a handle was missing on this one. I feel like that's not true though. I feel like I'm missing something. It's not in there. It's not in there. It definitely wasn't in the drawer. I'll look for it more later, but I think maybe it was not. Something that was supposed to be included was not included. Where on the table? No, not this handle. Thank you, but not this handle. There should be a handle for the drawer right here. So you can just pull this out. The first time, you have to pry it open, but after that, there's these two holes there, screws go in it, and you just pull the handle or the whole drawer right out, which is a nice little thing. But if you don't have that, that's a pain in the butt. Ooh. All right, does anyone have any questions about any piece of Walton's equipment? Doesn't have to be anything we looked at today. I'm more than happy to sit here for a while and answer the questions, drink my beer with my lime twang, and chat with you guys about it. I'm trying to think of what else is coming up soon. We've got our live stream on Friday, end of the month live stream. So we're going to draw a winner for this month's giveaway on both Walton's and Meatgistics. We're going to announce next month's sales and giveaways. And I think we're going to use the quick patty maker. I believe that's the plan. I should check mine. I forgot about the drawer for the stuffing tubes. Yeah, it's awesome. Anytime I can take something and make it, like everything stay together, it's so much better for me because I will lose things like nuts. So that drawer does make a big difference if you can make it work. Delicious. Oof. All right. Well, if no one's got any other questions, I'm going to get out of here, get home, so I can get in early tomorrow and start packing all this stuff up. Appreciate you guys. Love hanging out with you. We're back on. We took the holidays off, obviously, but we will start doing these every Monday again. We will mostly be doing cooking stuff. We might occasionally do things like this when we have new products, or, again, if it's negative something out and I just don't feel like being a baby, or I feel like being a baby, I'll just hide in here and we'll do something with a piece of equipment, seasoning, something like that. See you guys.